Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and set up Visual Studio on your local machine. And if you already have it installed, I'll show you two ways to configure it for machine learning. And as I mentioned in the introduction, this section is optional if you don't have a Windows operating system on your machine, in which case, you're welcome to just skip over this video and move on to the next lesson. If you don't already have it installed, go to visualstudio.microsoft.com/downloads and download the latest version of the Community Edition. By the time you are watching this website might look very different, and if it does, simply find the Community Edition and download that to your local machine. It is free, but don't be fooled. Despite this version being free, it is extremely powerful. And also, make sure that you are downloading Visual Studio and not Visual Studio Code. When you click on the download link, you might be directed to a page that contains lots of helper material for beginners, while an installation file, probably of the form Visual Studio Setup.exe, will be downloaded to your downloads folder. After downloading the installer, make sure to run this executable as an administrator. What you will need to do is click on this Modify button, and you will be presented with the following screen. On this screen, you can select the components or workloads you want to install with Visual Studio. A workload is a collection of features that support a specific type of development. And as you can see, there are development or program types geared towards web applications, desktop applications, mobile applications, and a whole lot more. In order to do machine learning inside Visual Studio, you will need to ensure that the .NET desktop development workload is selected or checked, and that the ML.NET Model Builder checkbox is checked in the right-hand pane. If you browse through all the workloads, you will see that there are workloads for Python development, data science applications, and a whole lot more. So as you can see, Visual Studio is quite extensive in terms of its capabilities. After selecting your desired workloads, components, language packs, and so on, click on the Install button at the bottom right corner of the screen. Take note of the required disk space that will be displayed at the bottom right. The installation process may take quite some time depending on your internet speed and your system configuration. At the end of the installation process, two programs will be available to you: Visual Studio itself and the Visual Studio installer. You can launch Visual Studio with either one of these programs. If you already have Visual Studio installed, then simply launch the installer select Modify, and go and add the necessary workload to ensure that ML.NET is added to your Visual Studio IDE. Alternatively, you can launch Visual Studio and add the ML.NET extension, Let's do that quickly. Launch Visual Studio and click on this Continue Without Code link. Then simply go to the Extensions menu, click on the Manage Extensions submenu, and then search for Model Builder in the Visual Studio Marketplace. Once you have found it, simply download it by clicking on the Download button that will be displayed somewhere over here, and then close the dialog box. If you already have the extension installed, you will see a green tick as I have here. In my version of Visual Studio, there is no immediate indication that an update to a pre-installed extension may be available. So you always want to keep an eye out for the Updates menu here on the left. And as you can see, there is an update available for GitHub Copilot in my case. So if your Model Builder extension does have an update, you can update it by clicking on the Update button over here. Typically, after you have downloaded a new extension or updated an existing one, you will have to close Visual Studio for the update to take effect. Things might be slightly different by the time you are watching this video, so simply follow the instructions on your screen, and that's it. You will have successfully installed and or set up Visual Studio with machine learning workloads. You are now ready to start creating machine learning applications with ML.NET's Model Builder. Let's get started with that in the next lesson. I'll see you there.